So let me ask you about Alabama. You know, they had that big performance in the first half up against Georgia. They did not play well in the second half, but they won. They got beat up pretty good by Vanderbilt, and then it was wipe the sweat off the forehead up against South Carolina. Where are you at right now with Alabama going into this one up against Tennessee?
Honestly, Zach, I'm nervously optimistic. Sorry, I'm getting out the car with my son. He's on vacation with me. It's take my son to work week. So honestly, dude, I'm optimistically nervous just because the defense, they have not shown me enough to make me feel confident in what they're doing. It's way too many guys running wide open downfield. It's way too many just missed and blown coverages. It's way too many misfits on the run game. And so because of those reasons, I'm nervous. But I'm also know that they're playing a team in Tennessee who's also struggling just in other factors. And so it's going to come down to, can Tennessee actually hit an open receiver, and can Alabama actually play good coverage and cover the guys that they're supposed to cover, not have the blown and mental errors that they've been making the last few weeks? And can you physically be tough enough and not let what happened against Vanderbilt happen to you again? Because Vanderbilt literally out-toughed them and out-physicaled them on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Like, the big concern right now has been Alabama's defense. Tennessee's offense looked like a bunch of superstars earlier on in the season, and then they've cooled off. From a defensive player standpoint, and let's say you were in that Alabama locker room, what would you feel good about, even though there's been some ups and downs this year going up against Nico Iamaleava, who has cooled off as of late?
You know, I got to take my glass off for this one, Zach, because the answer is not a lot. Like, nothing really. The thing I'm feeling positive about is the future, that our schedule and our season is still out there in front of us, despite the loss versus Vandy. And so if you can still go out there and win games, then you still have a chance to achieve all the goals and aspirations that you had at the beginning of the year. But they got to get those things cleaned up. And so when you're not doing a lot of things good, let's not even worry about it. How about we just start afresh? Let's scorch the earth, forget about everything that's happened before this day, and let's go out here and see who we can be when we are our best versions. And I listened to somebody like Tim Tebow. He said something really good earlier. It was just like, Alabama's highs are really, really high, like almost as high as any other team. Like, we've seen what they can be at their best. But then they have these lulls or these super lows in the game where you just can't be so hot and cold if you want to win championships. It's something to be said about consistency and what it is and how hard it is to be consistently great. Because a lot of people, it's cool to be mediocre. It's easy, you know? But it's really hard to bring your A game every day and consistently try and be at that level all the time, which is where Alabama is expected to be.
And there has to be an adjustment period. I know fans are going to be like, hey, continue the Saban train, continue winning all these games. And then when you beat Georgia, it's like, oh, we got the coach. The quarterback's going to be a Heisman Trophy winner this year. Forget only being a finalist. He's going to win the award. And then that air gets let out of the balloon very quickly in 2 weeks. Where are you at? Like, I believe in Deboer, but where are you at with him? And what would your message be to the Alabama fan that's just going to say, hey, it's not Saban. I have no confidence in this dude.
Yeah, I like Kalen Deboer. I like his leadership style. It's completely different than Nick, right? Nick run it like my brother would say, he runs it like Thanos, right? The Infinity Gauntlet, where he snaps a finger, he gets a championship. You're not on his team, then you're gone, right? You're just invisible, right? But Kalen Deboer, he has this unique ability to be able to talk to people. He empowers those around him to different leadership aspects. And so when sometimes you serve before you ever lead, and it's a different unique status and style, and it makes people like question, but honestly, it works. The guy has won everywhere at all levels. So you got to continue to trust this process. But I said it since the beginning of the season. I said, look, everybody, it's all kumbaya, flowers and rainbows, and we all are so happy until we lose a game. And so how the Alabama fans react when they lose a game? Now, I didn't anticipate it was Vandy, which is a little bit different, all right? Like Georgia, we're okay. But Vandy is different because Alabama does not lose to Vandy. We've had a lot of bad teams that did not lose to Vanderbilt. So this is a team that we just saw beat Georgia and then go and lose to Vanderbilt. And so you got to get those things out of the way. But at least we got the loss out of the way, and we'll see how we react. And they do look scary on defense because they're not doing some things nice, and they're not tackling, and they're blown coverages and other things that you got to get cleaned up. But you got to trust this coach. and he's won everywhere for a reason. And so even the way he handles, even after the South Carolina game, I was pissed off after the game, the way it all went down the stretch. But the team celebrated and they were happy. And Deboer was like, I'm proud of this team. And so I don't think Nick would have reacted the same way. But we got to stop talking about Nick. We ain't dating Nick no more. All right, this is Kalen Deboer's team. And this is how you got to be in love with it, And so you said I do, and we're here for it. We're here for the long haul. And so we can't keep looking back and talking about what this one and that one was. This is who we're with, and let's go with it. And it's going to feel and look a little differently. But when you lose, Zach, they find every reason to be mad about it, right? They're talking about what shirt he's wearing. What color is this? And instead of hey, let's just focus on the games and the task at hand. And I think if they do more of that, we'll be just fine.
Where are you at on Texas, Georgia, Roman Harper? Because I keep on vacillating back and forth. I was Georgia earlier in the week, then Texas, and now I'm I feel like this game just means more to Georgia.
No, I definitely think it means more to Georgia. Texas doesn't have a loss. And so, but this game is at home for Texas. And last time they had a big game like this at home, they let Alabama out the gates 2 years ago. And so this is a game that everybody circled on the schedule the moment the schedule came out, that this was the game of the year. And that surely will not let us down. And I'm like you, Zach, I was leaning Georgia. Now I'm probably back Texas. But it's weird because this is a moment where Georgia never gets to play underdog. This is a game where Georgia and Kirby gets to talk about the rat poison and all the other terms that you get to throw out there. And it's easier to be the underdog because nobody's expecting you to do this. And you can use all the fuel and everything up. And you're not going to have to work hard to get Georgia fired up for this game. So this would be very unique. To me, I trust Kirby, but I don't know if I trust Mike Bobo in the offense consistently versus this Texas defense that's way underrated. A lot of team speed and a lot of stars in different positions on all three levels. And so that's going to be tough sledding on that side. But then you also have Texas and who they are and who their history tells us is that they slip up and lose one of these games that they're not supposed to every year. I don't know if it's Georgia, but traditionally this is why Texas fans have been optimistically nervous all year long because of all the hype. And they know that, man, we always slip up one way or another. They got past Oklahoma, but Georgia will be the first team that can actually threaten Texas through the air. The only other games that they played, nobody could actually threaten Texas, especially through the air. And so Oklahoma couldn't throw the ball. Michigan, we know can't throw the ball. And so Georgia will be the first true test for Texas. And so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it just for that reason alone.
Before we let you run, Roman Harper, Ole Miss, right, have been disappointing. We thought they would get into the 12-team playoff. Now it's not looking like they will. That opens up the door for Lane and the Lane train to go to Gainesville and be a member of the Florida Gators. How likely do you think
you're already
is?
Starting it? You're already starting it. You already started, Zach.
It's been started for like a month. Choo-choo. It's been going for a month.
I tried not to get in. I tried Nick Saban that thing and stop talking. Don't talk about hypotheticals, but I guess I get paid to do that. And so, this is what Lane does. Lane flirts and Lane goes, and he's never been anywhere too long. And we thought, I thought if they went to the playoffs at Ole Miss, it'd be really hard for him to leave. But if they do not go, it definitely looks a lot more likely. But I would say this, though, because if Billy Napier wins that game versus Tennessee, I think he saved his job last week. But good teams find ways to win games and bad teams find ways to lose them. And that's where Florida is right now. They're continue to find ways to lose games, and they got to get that thing cleaned up. So Billy Napier still has a game or two where he can actually win it and save his job before we, get too excited about the Lane train.
All right, I'll let you go back to being dad in just a second and having fun doing everything with the SEC Network. Last question, I promise. I need your thoughts. Last night, Drew Brees gets honored, Saints Hall of Fame. Sean Payton back in town. Broncos kicked the snot out of the Saints. Just give me your feel on Sean coming back, no longer coaching the team. We all know why he retired because he didn't have a quarterback. Now he thinks he has his guy in Bo Nix, and Drew getting honored last night.
Well, Zach, man, I actually had a great time. I don't know if you froze or not, but thank you. I already got Tennessee fans talking trash to me. Are you? Yeah, they're already talking trash to me in the hotel lobby. So, look, I had a great time. I had plenty of drinks. It was great seeing all my teammates back and everything, how much it meant to so many people. And I'll honestly tell you the best story about it all was we were at the Hall of Fame luncheon for Drew. And Sean showed up. Sean, Zach Strief, Pete Carmichael, Lombardi. who was a quarterback's coach for a long time here with the Saints, now with the Broncos. And it was great to see those guys and just like loving on each other. And that really tells you like the bond that football brings to what it does for all of us, right? And then you look up, we give a standing ovation for Sean Payton that he was there, everybody was happy. He gets up there. Can I say it? Can I say what he said? I don't know. What is this show? This is it. Anyways, he said,
we
look.
are on the radio, so just if there's a curse, like if you want to say a four-letter word, just say F that.
He said, thanks for all the pleasantries, but F that. I'm going out here to kick your know-what tonight. And then walked off the stage. It was beautiful. It was total Sean Payton move. It was everything that Sean is encapsulated in 5 seconds. And it was perfect. And then they went out there and did their thing last night. It was, man, and everybody was all out there. And the vibes were supposed to be right. And the team's just too beat up. Like, it's just really tough to be a Saints fan with all the injuries. And it's like, how overreactive do you want to be? I'm glad that Mickey and the GM and the ownership group, they're very much so solid in place, and they're not overreactive for fans and to the mob. You want to see this team be the best version of themselves, but how can you when everybody's hurt? And I have no excuses for any team because nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But it was great for Denver to go out there and get that win and for Sean to come back. Trust me, nobody wanted that win more than anybody than Sean Payton did last night.
So did the reception and the reaction when he said that, was it like positive, or did he get like a little friendly booing and like, no, screw you, coach?
Oh, no, they booed him the whole way out after that. It was like, well, as a matter of fact, we didn't even want to cheer for you anyways. That's exactly what happened. It was really funny. And then the guy who was Ken Trahan, who's over the whole Hall of Fame committee, he just started talking trash the whole way as Sean was walking out. It was like, why'd you even give him the mic to have that power for 5 seconds? And then he just totally went sideways. It was great, though. It was hilarious.
Classic story indeed. Roman Harper, appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing this today.
Zach, man, always, man. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.